I know you guys love when we do this thing. We're going to have a bit of a Xenos bash go on. We've got the mech boy of YZ here going to be facing off against the Lictor Alpha of Molek. You know what? I just like calling this guy Molek Molotov. I feel like that's an anti-hero name. Molek Molotov. I don't know what KPKT is. If you're listening, Molek, tell me in the comments down below, what is KPKT? What does that stand for? Obviously it's a clan tag. Who are the KPKT? Should we hate them? Should we like them? Are they heroes? Are they villains? What should we do with the KPKT? So we got the new Tyranid meta going on here. We got the double Hormagaunts and the single Terma. Just enough range DPS plus a crippling poison to provide a little bit of support against any melee heroes. I don't know if he knew that he was going to be facing a mech boy. Probably if he was fighting YZ. YZ's always playing the mech boy. Guess having a little bit of range DPS is nice versus the mech boy. Ultimately this Termagon is quite useless early on. Until you get Raveners to have a second allocation of range DPS. You can't really do much with them because you can't kite with one range squad. If you stop to shoot, the melee will catch you with a melee charge and then you can't kite anymore. So if you don't go Raveners, then I wouldn't get a Termagon. I'd just go triple Hormus. So I expect here to see warriors into Raveners after. Because you need the warriors for Synapse. Lictor Alpha can't provide any himself. But then you can get the Raveners and you can deal with melee with the Termas plus the Ravener combo. And having one crippling poison is nice utility, especially in tier 2, where it's harder to shoot down things like sluggers because they get their knob, who increases all their health and is just a big tanky boy himself. Interestingly, we see the Toxin Miasma as the first pick here for Molek. I don't like this at all. I really don't. The value that you get from picking up this war gear versus getting a Warrior Brood squad out is so small, and it's no extra capping power either. I'm not sure why the sluggers aren't fighting these Hormagaunts here. You have two decisions. You fight straight away or you retreat. Well, I mean, he's throwing everything into a garrison, which the Hormers can't do anything about, but I'm not sure what the whole deal is with this. Still 2 units, and now they're risking getting wiped in retreat by the double Hormers. Lictor's going to claim the model of the sluggers there. And they're not going to be able to do a whole lot. Can Flesh Hook one of the models to kill them? Did that not kill? Wait, does Flesh Hook get debuff damage from buildings? What? That's funny. I never knew that. Fast electric armor. Quite common against Tyranids. Obviously good against the Gaunts because of the splash damage. Gaunts got a lot of models. Now the boys are going to retreat. There was a lot of delaying, which... not really worth it. Just get your lads out, regroup, and focus on capping the map elsewhere. To be fair, YZ doing very good on the map control right now, presumably moved up here with his mech boy. Got some normal boys over there. He's now got Storm Boys on the way, and Warriors come out. So both of the players opting for War Gear here, which has delayed their tier 1.5. I dare say if we waited on the electric armor for a little bit and got the Storm Boys first, could have been a nice window of opportunity there for YZ where he has more units than a Tyranid and he can offset a lot of the early game advantages that the Tyranids get. Tyranids generally have an advantage in tier 1 because they've got the highest DPS per pop and they've got more speed than the Orcs. But once the Orcs start getting knobs on their melee squads and vehicles like the War Truck for mobility, even the Death Dread to be honest, you know, just get the Storm Boys to jump on the Venom Brood and then the Death Dread can wreak havoc with its big AoE specials and its AoE burners. That's when the Orcs really start coming into their own. Not to mention the Weird Boy. The Weird Boy in this matchup is absolutely vital. AoE damage from his abilities, Warp Vomit to shut down melee and to stun and make vulnerable the Synapse creatures, and most importantly Warpath for more melee and damage resistance on your melee boys. But we'll talk about that more when we get into tier 2. For now we've got a tier 1 engagement. Storm Boys are going to leap straight onto the Warriors. Remember, Storm Boys have got power melee, very lucky there. Instantly proccing a special and more specials. These Warriors are screwed. They need to retreat out. They're going to lose both their models. So you always send your Storm Boys onto the Warriors. The melee should just turn around and fight the Homers. Oh, there's another Homer flanking as well as the Lictor. Fair enough, yeah, YZ's got to get out of there. Quite lucky there for Molek that he didn't actually lose any of his Warrior Brood models. 2 of them models must be quite low. Probably about 60% HP off 2 of them models or something. Looking at the overall HP bar here. This is interesting. He's going for a second Warrior. I wonder if that's intentional or if that is Overwatch. As I said earlier, if you're going to go for a second Warrior, then you don't need the Termagant. Because the one isolated Termagant isn't doing anything. It can't kite. It's not going to do significant damage to a mech. You might as well just say fuck it and just get another Hormagon. But if he follows up with Raveners, then I'd get it. But Raveners are what, 425? And his economy is actually looking quite good to go tier 2 right now. He only needs 5 more power. He's probably just going to do that. You could get Death Spitters in tier 2. The Lictor can get Venom Brood without having to wait for the build time. I believe it might be marginally cheaper, but it's not much cheaper. You could just buy them manually. It doesn't really matter. Then you've got 2 ranged units. You don't need ranged Synapse if you've only got 1 Gaunt. That'd be... it's just total waste, really. Big shooters on the shooter boys, we've got some burners on the slugger boys. All those kind of upgrades to the orcs are very good, very cost effective. But 2 Hormagants here as well as the Lictor is a bad time for these Storm boys. Met boy's going to try and help out. He's in the retreat path there with the electric armor and combined with the War boosting the damage of the shooter boys. And these big shooters nearly manages to wipe that Hormagant squad. That would have been a really nice pick if he got it. Unfortunate there for YZ that he didn't, very close. All it would have taken was 1 more swing from the Storm Boys earlier in that fight, and that would have been a dead Hormagon squad. A little bit of reinforcing there for Molek to do. Molek is going to hit tier 2 first, as is expected in the matchup, but unexpectedly in the matchup, it is YZ who has an advantage in the VPs early on. Quite a big advantage. Currently got a triple gap against Molek. And he's up about 160 VPs already. Storm Boys jumping in to try and counter-initiate the Warriors, but the ranged units of the Orcs here have got compromised quite early. Does manage to kill one of the Warriors and proc the backlash, which is a nice amount of AoE damage in combination with the electric armor, but there is simply too many ranged units. Sorry, not ranged units at all. Too many melee units here to deal with. This guy's DPS is phenomenal. No doubt about it, the DPS of a Toxic Miasma Lictor Alpha against light infantry is phenomenal. You do not want to stand in melee against him with squishy orcs for too long, especially when you've got 2 squads of Hormagons chopping you up too. Do notice the pheromones. So you cast this pheromones in an area, and then you can reinforce your Tyranids out of it, as well as debuffing the damage of enemies. Very, very good ability in combination with Gaunts, especially Hormagons, to win AVA melee fights. And then in tier 2 you can get the Endless Swarm upgrade for a little bit of power. I think it's 50 rec, 15 power. Then you can reinforce 2 Gaunts for the price of 1. So not only is that a saving in terms of resources, but you're actually reinforcing the Gaunts twice as quick, which makes pheromones even stronger. Very hard to out DPS than reinforcing 2 Gaunts once. You can see that the Termagant's not really achieving a whole lot here. I don't like these Termagants. They're not, like, you might say, oh, well, how's he going to deal with electric armor? But you don't deal with it with the Termagants. 1 Termagant can't deal with electric armor anyway. You're not going to do enough damage. You just have to flesh hook him away, let him waste energy, throw warriors on him, whatever. The Termagants aren't helping him deal with electric armor. Rippers now coming out. They'll be good to shut down the shooters. But we see a lot of Wars here. We've also seen a Bomber Boy coming in, and the appearance of the first Nob in the game. And here is the second Nob. The Stormboy and Slugger Nob are here. That is going to be a fearsome fighting force. But Molek? What the fuck? Molek? Oh my god. Molek has the tools to deal with it. Or rather, the tool. The Tyrant Guard that is now hitting the field. You see him charging through there, doing a lot of damage. Killing one of the Slugger Boys. And the Orcs are like, nope, don't want to fight you. Not without the support of the Weird Boy, and they get out of there. So Weird Boy's coming out now, and he is a real headbanger. Headbanger. That's what he does, he bangs heads. Not in melee, he just makes heads go bang. You know, with zap and psychic blasty shots that come out of this weird staff. Warpath is the first upgrade for that weird boy. Kind of obvious. Honestly, it's just so good. Just has to be careful because he is fighting a Lictor Alpha. Don't let this guy get chipped down to half HP and then pulled in by the Flesh Hook, or you're going to be in a very, very bad way. Lictor Alpha's going to go straight onto that weird boy, but of course, I mean, the Lictor's completely isolated here, not really much support, and the double power melee of the Orcs is going to chop that Tyrant Guard to pieces, but of course it's got shield wall in the back and there's no dedicated AV here other than the heavy melee of the Knob. So let's see, can he deal with the melee? Well, that is a beautiful warp vomit there from the weird boy. Gonna shut down the warriors, just like I said, and then most of the melee is gonna have to get out of there. We do have Hormagaunts compromising the shooters here. Can they wipe out the shooters? The Tyrant Guard did overextend and got chopped to pieces by the Sluggers, and this is of course the advantage that I'm talking about with the Orcs in Tier 2, especially with this Warpath. Even just with the melee, they are able to counter the Tyrant Guard. Who needs anti-super heavy infantry ranged units when you have the Orcs and you can just chop them up with power melee? Well, not YZ's Orcs apparently. Nice special attack there from the weird boy as well. Onto the Rippers. I'm not sure what these Rippers are achieving really at this point. They should probably disengage. They're just feeding free XP to YZ's army. And here come the non-taxing sack Termagants again, doing absolutely nothing. Just bleeding more requisition basically for Molek and getting wrecked by the mech boy. Now what I will say is I have no idea how Molek makes a comeback here because he's currently down 150 VPs and he has 4 units, not including the Rippers, it's their chaff, to the 5 units including a sub-commander of YZ, and that is a terrible position to be in if you're playing as a Tyrannid. You can see Lictor Alpha very tanky here because of this Toxic Cyst. That gives him 150 HP heal over 10 seconds, meaning 15 HP per second, not 150 HP per second for 10 seconds, that would be insane. But 15 HP per second for 10 seconds, so yeah, it makes him tanky. It makes him very tanky. But fighting alone, not great, especially when you don't have the Lone Hunter to get the, what is it, 40% more damage, 25% damage resist. Probably, in this case, would be a good idea for Molek, because winning AVA fights, army versus army fights right now, I mean, so if you're not familiar with that term, I'm referring to situations where 80% or more of the units that a player has are fighting 80% or more of the players that the enemy has. Winning those kind of fights right now for Molek is going to be extremely difficult. Still level 1 for the Sluggers, but we are level 2 now for the Storm Boys. Might want to consider swapping out to the battery pack on the Mech Boys. Still trying to make use of this electric armor. Let's see what kind of damage it can do right now. What caused that knockback? Where is the Weird Boy? The Weird Boy's miles away. I don't know what caused that knockback. Must have been... Oh, Bomber Boys. It must have been Bomber Boys, but yeah. This is actually a really good engagement for the Tyrannids. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Is he going to kill the Storm Boys? Oh my god, he kills the Sluggers and the Storm Boys in that engagement. Oh, well, there you go then. And now we've got Gene Stealers out. They're putting pressure onto the Weird Boy in the mid. Alright, so this is how Molek makes a comeback. I don't actually know how the Orcs lost that engagement so badly. I think the Sluggers were fighting the Adrenal Gland Warriors and the Hormagaunts all on their own for a long time there, and the shooters don't really help that much, to be honest. The Storm Boys needed to jump on top of that melee fight and start scrapping too and hurting the warriors. And as I say, the electric armor not really that effective now that things are starting to get leveled up. Remember, the melee synapse from the Adrenal Gland Warrior Broods is increasing the Hormagaunt health by 40%, and they've got levels, and they've got Adrenal Glands to go up another 10%. And this all stacks too, so pretty juicy HP buffs. And it really negates the DPS of this electric armor. It's why I don't really like the electric armor even against Tyrannids. Don't really like it. Rather just be able to effectively double the HP of my Storm Boys with battery pack. Because your Storm Boys are the most important tool, really. All that power melee to take out the Synapse creatures and the Tyrant Guard and stuff. But it's going to be a looted tank. YZ tech to tier 3 very quickly. Tanks and transports are notoriously effective against the Tyrannids due to their lack of a long-range snare. We'll see. Lictor Alpha, of course, can call in Venom Brood via the global bar, so that means that if he gets sight with other units, he can get the Venom Brood in the so-called retreat path of the looted tank and do a bit of a pincer attack. We'll see. The Lictor Alpha himself can get Corrosive Claws and snare the tank, which could help a bit. It's not great, but it's something. It can help the Venom Brood catch it, or Rippers stay within range and keep nibbling it. If Rippers are nibbling the tank, it will snare it marginally based on how many bites they get. Nice use of the passive infiltration there by the Gene Stealers. We got the Warpath. Yeah, we got the Warpath to buff the speed here, but Gene Stealers are so fast, man. They're just going to try and stay in play. Oh no, they stopped moving. Now the Gene Stealers are flipping the shooter boys around. Can they wipe the shooters before they get taken out by the tank? Oh, they were waiting for the Warp Vomit, was YZ. He does hit the Warp Vomit, but that was a good play there. Drained basically all the energy of the Weird Boy, killed 3 shooters over there, and only lost a Gene Stealer, and Gene Stealers really aren't that expensive. So that's a nice play. Look, Weird Boy drained all of his energy. It's going to take a long time to regenerate that. He gets a spike of energy if you use War near him, but then you're losing your red. And right now, honestly, YZ might want to be saving his red to try and get enough red for a Rocks. We've got double Gene Stealer out. We've got a Venom Brood coming out. Looks like the Tyrannid here, in a strange twist of fate, is going to be stuck in tier 2. A very rare thing for the Tyrannids. What the hell was that? Oh my god, he just killed the Weird Boy. YZ is not paying attention. Was looking like me at the looted tank pushing over that side. Loses his bloody Weird Boy to this horde of melee. Maybe pulled it in with a Lictor Alpha, and then when it's getting pulled into all this melee, that's going to be a bad time. But yeah, I mean, now he loses his shooters. Wow, the melee of the Tyrannids, eh? It's scary stuff. It really is scary stuff. There's no doubt about it. That is fearsome. Well, there's only so much that the looted tank can do on its own. It's going to get the support of some knobs now. The good thing for YZ is that he's already up quite a lot in VPs, actually. 235 to 79 only for Molek. Going to be tough. He's just outnumbered in terms of units so badly. It's not good. He's also got no repair unit, I've just realised as well, because he lost the Sluggers. He's probably going to want to call in some Grots here. He can't really afford to get Sluggers right now. He obviously needs to get these knobs upgraded and swap to the battery pack, not the electric armour.
We've got 200 points left.
Distractions, but we're back, witnessing YZ's shooters getting absolutely wrecked by melee here. Double Homoguns plus Gene Stealers equals very bad time for shooters, and they are dead too. Yeah, YZ is gonna struggle here, isn't he? How's he gonna compete in map control? He's only really got a mech boy to cap. He obviously needs the knob in the main fights here. The knobs currently probably just have meaner and greener. Do they even have that? Getting knocked over by warriors. Gene Stealers have got 80 melee skills, so they should be knocking them all over too. Yeah, the knobs are just getting wrecked. No real support for them. Yep, Gene Stealers proc specials, warriors jump in, knock them over. No Warpath, no battery pack heal, no Frenzy, no U-Jammers, no Knob Leader, no Pain Boy, no Bomber Boys, no stun from the Storm Boys, like, yeah. They're not going to cut it, and they're going to bleed quite a lot now. And he's got no repairs other than the mech boy for the looted tank, but he needs his mech boy to be teleporting around, capping the map at the moment, not repairing. So this one, yeah, I mean, it swung, didn't it? Jesus Christ, I guess it's always a fine line when you're fighting a swarm of Tyranid melee and you're ahead. Doesn't take long for that swarm to take out a bunch of your units, and then you're screwed. Not great. So he needs to wait a little bit for his mech boy to heal, so he might as well spend the time healing up his looted tank whilst he's waiting for the mech boy to heal. Man, that mech boy is healing really slow and based, isn't it? Jeez.
Oh dear. He's going for a battle wagon? What? That is a really interesting choice because, well, it's going to take a very long time to come out, but he is ahead in VPs, and it's mostly melee that he's fighting bar the one Venom Brood, so he can run it over with a battle wagon. Pop models left and right. The Melter will do nice damage against the Venom, and then hit it with the ability as well. He's got a lot of red. He's just called in some Grots. Not sure what the plan is for them. Yeah, they're just going to go to a repair crew. Takes out a tower. Got to get out before the specials come in, or the knockback from the leap. Repair crew gonna do their job. Get repairing this tank. It'll be alright, it can tank the damage of 2 Venom Broods, no problem. You've got to lead with Rippers on melee to force the looted tank to shoot at them instead, or back off, and then it loses its targeting priority. If you just trade with a tank with Venom Brood, it's not going to work. The tank's going to win, especially when there's repairs. So here comes the battle wagon, and the interesting thing with the battle wagon is it only fires all its guns when it's got a squad inside. Well, you can put Grots inside. That's a really cheap squad that could go inside the wagon. Do pretty well for you, because it's all the guns firing. Plus, when you need to get them out, well, you just pull them out, don't you, and repair it. Quite convenient. Now, Grots aren't able to decap, I don't think. Can they decap? Or is it just they can't cap? I can't remember. I feel like they can decap, albeit perhaps at a slower rate. I'm not sure. Let's see, we've got the custom force field on the mech knocking over the Tyranids into the rocks. There is the rocks. Can it wipe anything? I don't think so. Or did it get a Gene Stealer? No, it just knocked them flying over here. Nope. We've got the bouncing battle wagon bouncing around the craters. Is this a second Venom Brood? No, this is the original, isn't it? Oh yeah, you just tie that one up in melee. That's not too big of a deal. We've got basic sluggers on the field now. Okay, not so basic. They're getting their upgrades, but they really don't want to be fighting Elixir Alpha, which has got the toxic cysts coming in. Grots repairing. Knobs need upgrades. Probably wanted the super tough beam to help the knobs as well. That gives them knockback immunity. Exceptionally useful against things like Gene Stealers. Where are the Grots gone now? Oh, they're just there. Why are they not in the battle wagon to activate all the guns? Shooters aren't going to fire if you don't have anyone inside them to shoot, unfortunately. So I'm not sure what YZ's doing here. Just send the battle wagon in and run over all these things. Oh, there's a Carnifex now. Yeah, it's getting its Venom Cannon, but it's way too close at the moment. Why is he going to win this? Is he really? I mean, he's taking the mid right now. Slugger Knob is going to go over to the right, but he's going to meet Gene Stealers, and these guys are only half HP. I think even at full HP, they're going to lose to Gene Stealers. Too much. They self-heal, and then their knockback from the 80 melee skill specials is too good. Yeah, bad time for those sluggers. But you can see chip damage there coming in from the 2 tanks. It's pretty good against the Carnifex. Once again, you want to send something like Rippers in instead. Oh, I was going to say, is that the Mega Rumbler? But it's not. It's just a Call the Boys. But he kind of retreated really early there. What the hell? The knobs had a load of HP. Maybe because of the Tyrannoformation on the backlines. Does that tower catch the tank? Oh, it did! Either the tower or the Venom Cannon, I don't know which. Oh dear. I think Molek should have this here. Of course, the Gene Stealers on the right force off the Sluggers. Sluggers are back in the base. Battle Wagon needs to get over to the natural because the Lictor is going to go claim it. With only 25 VPs left for YZ, I think he's done here. Yeah, Knob's not really a great choice in this instance. Now he's going to go in with his roller on the front, the Death Roller. Run over the gaunts, but it's not quite enough. Oh, what the fuck? Look at that without number. Wow. That was a huge reinforce from that without number. Holy shit. And a beautiful special there from the Fex. Does get slain by the knobs, but it's all too late.
YZ is out of VP. He's nothing to stop the Lictor Alpha capping down here. The mech instead going over to the natural, but it doesn't matter. 2-0 capping in favour of Molek, and the dub to Molek. Just a little bit late on the battle wagon. I mean, it was actually quite effective, wasn't it? Imagine if he went for the battle wagon prior to the knobs. Throw the Gretchens into the battle wagon, activate its guns. Of course, these guys don't have build time because they come down from the global bar. Hey, maybe he could have done it. Maybe, but not this time. Hope you enjoyed that one, folks. That's going to be all from your boy Torpid this time. I am signing out.